Thank you, Meghna. Let's viewers begin with the top story of the day. You would remember not very long ago, in February to be specific, the Delhi and Mumbai offices of BBC were surveyed by the income tax officials. The ecosystem was quick to target the Sarkar and the central agency, linking the raid to BBC's docuseries India, the Modi Question. They said that BBC was being hounded for speaking the truth about Prime Minister Modi. But now, 4 months later, comes a stunning admission. Top government sources reveal that the British broadcaster has communicated to the IT department that it underreported its income in India over the last few years. Underreported is the word. The broadcaster now wants to file a revised income tax return. Sources say that there has been no quantification of the tax liability, which means that the amount that is due is not clear. So far, however, willingness to pay tax itself implies that there is tax liability. Remember that the IT department alleged that BBC had not paid taxes on remittances which were not disclosed as income in India. Sources say that tax liability of BBC runs into crores. Soon after the IT survey, the Enforcement Directorate had also started its FEMA investigation into BBC's foreign investments made into India. Now, when contacted, the BBC, in its response to Times Now, has not denied its tax liability. In fact, it says it's fully cooperating with the tax agency and that the process will take time to conclude. It says it takes its tax obligations seriously. After this, the BJP has latched on to this development and has called it a vindication against those who tried to malign the probe and defame Prime Minister Modi.
कुछ मिसगाइडेड लोग जो हमेशा हमारे जो इंटरनल इश्यूज हैं उनकी निंदा करते हैं। हमारे लॉज जो हैं वो बिल्कुल ट्रांसपेरेंट है। अगर आपको टैक्स देना है, किस स्लैब से देना है, वो बिल्कुल क्लियर है। अगर कोई नहीं दे रहा टैक्स और हम नोटिस भेजते हैं तो कह रहे ये फ्रीडम ऑफ द प्रेस का इशू है।
जो लोग ये चिल्ला रहे थे कि भाई ये कार्रवाई पॉलिटिकल है, ये राजनीतिक है, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि उनको आज जवाब मिल गया है। भारत की छवि मलिन हो, इस प्रकार के अंतर्राष्ट्रीय साजिश में सहभागी होना, ये दोनों चीजें इस बात की ओर इंगित करती है कि आज सच बाहर आ रहा है।
वो तो हमारी बात सही थी, उसको वो साबिती, अब उसको समर्थन दे रहे हैं। पहले हमारे सामने वो एलिगेशन था कि हम पार्शल कुछ कर रहे हैं, अब उसको पता चला कि मोदी सरकार में किसी के प्रति पार्शलिटी नहीं होती है।
आज उनके मुंह पे तमाचा है। वो सारे राजनीतिक दल जो बीबीसी के पीछे खड़े हुए थे और अपने देश की बुराइयों के अंदर लगे हुए थे, देश को बदनाम करने में लगे हुए थे, और मोदी का विरोध करते करते हम देश का विरोध करने लगते हैं और विदेशी संस्थाओं के का नाम बढ़ाने के लिए उनके पीछे खड़े हुए आते हैं। जो उनका लालच होता है, स्वार्थ होता है। लेकिन मैं मान के चलता हूँ कि देश की संस्थाओं को और देश पर विश्वास करना चाहिए।
Viewers, after attacking the centre for allegedly hounding the BBC, the ecosystem now tries to float a face saver. Listen to this.
And that's good that they have accepted it, that they paid less what they could have. Now they should pay. So they should follow the rule of law. See, what happened, that was connected with the documentary. Just it coincided. So timing was in a way that it was rather a revenge.
Law अपना it will take its own course. तो हम लोग उससे कोई इतराज थोड़ी, हम लोग कांग्रेस पार्टी, अगर वो सही मानों में ऐसा कुछ है तो लॉ अपना काम पूरा करे।
Interesting part of it is only that whether the raids and the consequent finding of default could be connected with the making of that objectionable documentary.
Low taxes result in the 2002 riots. Did low taxes result in the complicity of the state government? Did low taxes result into what India witnessed in Godhra? The BJP could have, the BBC could have paid low taxes, make them pay higher taxes, but answer the questions that have been raised. Be accountable for press freedom.
The ecosystem as strong and strong-willed as ever, that was the face saver. But let's quickly remind you of what was said by the ecosystem when BBC was raided by the income tax department, or if raid is too strong a word, we'll call it survey. Sample this, viewers.
यहाँ हम जेपीसी की मांग कर रहे हैं अडानी के मामले में, और वहाँ सरकार बीबीसी के पीछे पड़ी हुई है. विनाशकाले विपरीत बुद्धी.
बीबीसीच्या कार्यालयावरती दिल्लीमध्ये धाड पडलेली आहे, धाड टाकलेली आहे. एखाद्या प्रसार माध्यमाच्या कार्यालयावरती धाड टाकणं हे कोणत्या लोकशाहीत बसतं? म्हणजेच काय की तुम्ही आम्ही वाटेल ते करू, पण तुम्ही आवाज नाही उठवायचा. जर आवाज उठवाल तर चिरडून टाकू. ही जी एक पाशवी वृत्ती आपल्या देशामध्ये आज फोफावायला बघते, ती आपण वेळेमध्ये एकत्र आलो नाही आणि आपली ताकद वाढवली नाही तर उद्या संपूर्ण देश खाऊन टाकेल.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी बीबीसी से बहुत परेशान थी. उनके लिए बीबीसी पिछले 1 महीने से सबसे बड़ा खतरा था. इससे सिर्फ प्रधानमंत्री जी की या केंद्र की नहीं, पूरे भारत की छवि जो है खराब हो रही है.
बीबीसी की जो डॉक्यूमेंट्री फिल्म बनी, उसमें ऐसा क्या नया था जिसे इस अधिनायक सुप्रीम मिनिस्टर सरकार को गुस्सा है? बीबीसी पे जिस तरह के छापे पड़े हैं, समाजवादी पार्टी इसे डिफर करती है.
Let's quickly open this up. Dr. Ajay Alok, national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, I won't say a word after his name, R. Rajgopalan, senior journalist, Lokesh Jindal, leader of the Congress Party, Dr. Sumansi Raman, political analyst, and Dinesh Chaudhary, spokesperson of the BRS, completes the panel. Good evening, gentlemen. Dr. Ranganathan, it's a peculiar situation. The client is pleading guilty. The advocates played judge and jury to convince all of us that the client is innocent.
Good evening, Pranesh, and good evening to all my fellow panelists. Look, I'm glad that the BBC has had to accept the truth. These chauthi fail, otherwise unemployable charlatans should be taken to task now for cheating the government and the Indian people. 3 issues here broadly, Pranesh. Just give me a couple of minutes. Number 1, was that IT survey in February a bona fide technical investigation after providing enough notices to the BBC? The answer is yes. And BBC has always been anti-Modi. So the agency should never conduct a survey because it would be seen as a vindictive move. Number 2, was the BBC similarly investigated by the Congress? The answer is yes, in 2009 and 2010. But was India called a fascist state then? The answer is no. In fact, the UPA forced even Amnesty to close down its offices. But then again, India was a shining beacon of democracy and not a fascist state. Number 3, is the BBC a fake news peddling, selective and fraudulent organization? The answer is an emphatic yes, and I have spoken on this multiple times. The only thing lower than the credibility of the BBC, Pranesh, is the intelligence of its journalists. The BBC, I'm afraid, is a methane-spewing landfill of lies, fraud and selectivity. Let me just give you, for the benefit of your viewers, a few examples out of hundreds. The BBC pulled down its report on Indian fake news because the report itself relied on fake news. It retracted its report claiming a protest march against bombing in Syria attacked an MP's house. It apologized to Prima for a fictitious child labor Bangalore story. It published the fake news claim that India was funding MQM. It apologized for its fake reports claiming Live Aid charity money was used in Ethiopia to buy weapons. It retracted its fake news that a dog was stoned to death in Israel. It retracted its fake story of a Nigerian hotel serving human meat. From spurious Rwanda genocide documentary to blatantly one-sided coverage of the recent Delhi riots, to blaming Hindu hierarchy for Muslims raping a Dalit, to claiming Kaziranga poachers were victims, to EVM hacking conspiracies, to spreading fake news about a Sikh policeman getting death threats for saving a Muslim, to calling Burhan Wani a rebel leader. The BBC has done it all, Pranesh, for the sake of propaganda. And finally, 30 seconds, supreme irony is, they slander Modi, who has been fact-checked by none other than the Supreme Court, but did not fact-check those they called on their documentary to slander Modi. Just one example, take Arundhati Roy. They give her space to rant, but don't reveal her psychopathic claim that a riot victim, Kausar Banu's womb was ripped open and her fetus brandished at sport point by Modi's Hindutva Brigade was authoritatively debunked by none other than the Chief Information Commissioner of India, who went to the trouble of not only locating the family but also the doctor. Pranesh, just 10 seconds. The BBC, like any other media house, has to follow the written Indian tax rules, even if these charlatans don't follow the unwritten rules of morality and ethics in journalism.
Procedure became persecution, Lokesh Jindal. Now, I'm sure you're aware of the development because the latest response by the BBC to Times Now's questionnaire makes it clear that they are not denying it. Now, I'll tell you, read out some comments by political leaders, you tell me if they belong to the Congress party. If Hindenburg had an office in Delhi, agencies would have reached there by now. They've made a mockery of the country. Pawan Khera, I don't know which party he belongs to. You tell us. Here we've been trying to request JPC investigation on Adani case and the government is behind BBC. This is Mr. Jairam Ramesh. This is for the first time in 100 years history of BBC that it has faced such a raid. Their only fault was that they made documentary on 2002 Gujarat riots, though they included voices from all sides. This is Digvijay Singh. The list is long, but we don't have that kind of time. Mr. Jindal.
Well, if BBC was evading taxes, it is wrong, it is illegal. IT department is in its jurisdiction to issue notices, carry out a survey, and BBC has to pay taxes. But the manner in which the politicization of this entire event took place is something that shows what the government was trying to portray. Following BBC coming out with a documentary, suddenly
who politicized this
entire episode.
Who politicized this? Dr. Ranganathan is trying to show something.
Yes, just to add to that, Pranesh, BBC in fact was banned by the Congress for 2 years, and this was before the emergency. So I don't know what Mr. Digvijay Singh is talking about. Maybe he's having the same ingredient as Rahul Gandhi is.
This is the Naya Congress. Don't pin this on Lokesh Jindal. This is the Naya Congress. Lokesh Jindal, you go ahead.
Yes. So Pranesh, what happens is when the government, it tries to malign image of BBC so as to support its claim.
How was the government maligning the image of the BBC?
Banning the documentary.
But how?
No, because the government, it tried to damage the credibility of BBC so that its action of banning the documentary.
But Mr. Jindal, if you are not wrong, can I damage your credibility? Can I even dent it?
Aspect. Sorry, please come
again. If you are right on facts, can I fact check you?
Yes, please tell me.
No, that's a question.
No, absolutely. See, Pranesh, if the government has to issue notices, carry out a survey, why politicize this event?
Who politicizes? I'm not able to understand.
No. Following the banning of documentary, immediately the IT department carried out a survey. Now suddenly the BBC
okay, the two things were linked. Dr. Raman.
The BBC was projected as an organization that is evading taxes, breaking laws in India, was being intimidated. So let us not have both these events linked together. The government should have simply allowed BBC.
But you are linking the two events, Lokesh Jindal. What are you saying? You are linking the two events. The BBC is not linking the two events. The BBC says we take our tax liability seriously.
BBC is not paying taxes. The task of BBC is to carry out investigation, prepare reports, put it to the public at large.
I can't make sense of this argument. I am sorry, Dr. Raman. Can you enlighten me, sir, what Mr. Jindal is trying to say, or maybe something that you want to add?
Pranesh, I have an initial question. What is the authenticity of whatever this entire story is based on? It is based on quote-unquote sources. Why can't the income tax
department... I'll tell you, sir, you asked a question, I'll answer that. I'll answer that, sir. Quote-unquote...
tax evasion.
Sir, you asked a question at the beginning. Let me at least answer it, sir, unless you don't want it answered.
Dr. Ranganathan was allowed to expound for 4 minutes.
But he was not asking me a question. You asked me a question. This thing about comparison with Dr. Ranganathan is not going to work, Dr. Raman, because you began by asking me a question. Now, if I don't answer, it is rude. If you don't allow me to answer, it is rude. So you choose.
Answer.
I'll tell you. We wrote to the BBC, sir. We wrote to the BBC, and the BBC has given us an official response.
No. I'm asking you the source. Sorry, Pranesh, that you have not got the official response. Has gone to all media houses. The same response has gone, and I have seen that response.
That response is not good enough.
We are cooperating with the tax authorities, and we take our tax liabilities very seriously. No, I didn't. Unless we have been reading different responses. Nowhere there has the BBC said that we are negotiating a settlement and we are accepting that.
But Dr. Raman, nowhere has the BBC denied. Nowhere has the BBC denied it. That's the takeaway.
Why should they deny it? This is a look, it makes...
Sir,
look,
you
of
tell
course
me,
not.
if the advocates of
This is a
BJP,
state
if the
where
advocates
they
of
are
BJP are in denial, why can't the BJP, the BBC deny it?
1 second. 1 second. The BBC has clearly said as little as they have to say to make sure that this issue does not continue to grow. And
that's because they don't have too much to say. Dr. Raman wants to... No, Dr. Raman... No.
That
Dr.
we take our
Ranganathan...
tax liability seriously. No, if they... Okay, let me ask you again.
Okay.
If they say they take their tax liabilities very seriously, why does it mean that they are evading taxes? I don't know. They may have evaded, they may not have evaded. If they are guilty, they have to be punished. There is no issue on that.
But Dr. Raman, if I tell you that you've done something wrong, and if you say that I have not done something wrong, that is denial. If you say, I will be careful. No, Dr. Raman, what are you saying? You know, you're more reasonable than this. Come on. Dr. Ranganathan, yes, quick point, then I'm bringing in the others.
1 second, let me... Okay, you don't want me to speak.
No, of course, sir. I'm only answering the questions you're raising.
You're not going to give...
No, Dr. Raman, by all means, sir, speak. I'm answering the questions you're raising.
I didn't ask the question to you. I didn't... Give me 10 seconds. All I want to say is very simple. This is a story that is entirely based on quote-unquote sources. So obviously, somebody up there would like this story done on all primetime channels today, which is why all the channels are carrying the same quote-unquote sources have told us that this is what is happening. The BBC, in order to quash that, they may be guilty, they may be innocent, I have no clue. If they are guilty, they will pay the price. The point is, the BBC has said the barest minimum that it should say, and that's about it. The matter ends there. If tomorrow, hypothetically, there has been no tax evasion, will you then come out and say you carried a fake story? I'm just asking would you come out, Pranesh, come
there's
back.
Something on the screen again. Dr. Ranganathan is trying to tell us something.
A story, a fake news on prime time because we were asked to run it.
Oh, this is fake news. Dr. Raman, this is fake news for you. Let's get a response. Dr. Ranganathan, quickly.
If it is proven, if it is proven,
let him respond to the points that you've raised.
Yes, with due respect, I have great, and everyone knows I have great respect for my good friend Dr. Raman, but he has taken 7 minutes and I took 2.5 minutes. For him to say that I took 4 minutes is factually wrong. Now, 3 points here. Number 1, Lokesh, my good friend, is factually wrong because he said the moment the BBC documentary was banned, there was IT tax rate. You must know there was a difference of 3 months. 4 months between the IT investigation and the BBC documentary being banned, which I was opposed to. So factually, you're wrong. Number 2, here is Hindustan Times saying that 40 crores of tax was evaded and BBC has accepted it. So unless even Hindustan Times is wrong, Dr. Raman has to answer that. And secondly, I want to ask the more... No, please. Now, Dr. Raman, please. This is Hindustan Times.
Well, the same quote-unquote sources have told the Hindustan Times.
Big
deal.
No, let him, Dr. Raman. He was not interrupting when he was... Lokesh Jindal, I'll come to you. Lokesh Jindal. I did not
interrupt you.
We have time.
No, I didn't interrupt you. Dr. Raman. This is unfair because I want to ask you a question. Do you believe in Radia Tape's expose? Was the source ever known? But you believed in the expose, didn't you? So you didn't ask for a source there. Now you are selectively asking for the source because the story doesn't agree with your agenda.
No, he believed in the Radia tapes because the Prime Minister was someone else.
No, not at all. Can I answer that? Can I answer that?
Please.
The people in the Radia tapes, none of them actually came out to a significant degree to say that the
now you are changing your goalposts,
that they were fake.
Dr. Raman. First it was about authenticity. Now, no, 1 minute. I'm not, no, sir, let's not digress. Please, Dr. Raman, please. Dr. Raman, please. Let me bring in the others. Ajay Alok, Dr. Ajay Alok. Okay, let me go to the third doctor on the panel. Dr. Ranganathan began the show. Then Dr. Raman spoke. Now Dr. Ajay Alok of the BJP. Dr. Ajay Alok, what is the truth? Why are you going after the lobby, the ecosystem?
The truth is that I am listening at your channel and I'm astonished that Indians are defending an organization which has been instrumental in doing anti-India propaganda many a times, which we are all witness to. whether Congress or BJP, that doesn't matter, but this organization has been instrumental in anti-India propaganda in the past also. And by insulting the Prime Minister in a false documentary where he has already been cleared by the Honorable Supreme Court, please don't interrupt, have the courtesy. Banning is your subject, you have already banned the BBC in the past. So please don't lecture me that what we need to do, we know it. We don't advise from you.
You said they are anti-Indian.
But what you are doing here is batting for BBC. You are batting for BBC. You are batting for BBC. Not why you are.
Let him make his point, Dr. Raman. Please, let's not talk over each other. Please, Dr. Ajay Alok, make your point.
No, you have some problems. I'm just saying that they are batting for BBC not because they love BBC. It's just because they hate Modi. They hate the BJP government. But your hatred and your severe compassion towards Prime Minister Modi is not going to change things, my dear friend. Today, this organization has been found that they have been evading taxes and they'll be taken to according to law. But the question is that just on the BBC raids or survey, whatever it was, you guys started shouting freedom of press in India. As if that party who had openly killed the freedom of press during emergency, they started the shouting and dancing like anything.
Now let me bring in.
This shows your hypocrisy. What you are.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that.
Gandhi family, then only there is democracy. If there is no Gandhi family, there is no democracy.
Dinesh Chaudhary, spokesperson of the BRS, is also with us.
BBC, what BBC has done, I am not interested in that.
Right, Dr. Alok, we get the point that you've made. Now, Mr. Chaudhary, this is what KTR had said. What a surprise! A few weeks after they aired the documentary on Modi, BBC India, now raided by agencies like IT, CBI, ED, have become a laughing stock for turning into BJP's biggest puppets. What next? ED raids on Hindenburg or a hostile takeover attempt? Your thoughts today, sir?
Good evening, Pranesh. The last I checked, there was no official statement by either the BBC or the investigating agency showing that BBC has admitted to tax evasion. And unless until an official statement comes out from either of these two parties, now let us consider this a hearsay.
Okay, hearsay. Now let me ask you, no, 1 minute. Applying the same logic, sir, and don't take offense. Did the BBC release an official statement calling it persecution, calling it death of democracy, calling it emergency, that all of you took cudgels and turned advocates for the BBC? I don't remember that official statement in which the BBC denied everything and said, look, because of the Modi documentary, the agencies have been unleashed on us.
Pranesh, you can't equate both of them on the same level, and it is not out of the blue that the media houses or opposition voices which are critical of Modi have been raided by central investigative agencies at their whims and fancies. So, unless until anything concrete comes out, let's not make it a media trial.
There is nothing concrete. Mr. Raja Gopalan, there is nothing concrete. All this is hearsay.
So, let's not make it a media trial, Pranesh.
Media trial. Resist the urge of converting this into media trial.
Do we have any concrete evidence showing that BBC...
I am telling you, we have a response from the BBC.
No.
What else do you want? The Queen to tell us? The Queen is no longer there. I am sorry.
Anywhere that BBC has admitted...
No, what will you settle for, sir?
No, does it mention it?
The BBC has not denied the story. Dinesh Chaudhary, is that not enough for you?
No. Did they accept that they have conducted tax evasion? So how do we jump to conclusion?
If they have not done any evasion or underreporting.
Did the investigative agency come out with a statement that BBC admitted to it?
Now, Mr. Raja Gopalan,
yes, that's the point.
This is the same argument. Sources. There you go. Dr. Ranganathan has something on his phone. What is it, Dr. Ranganathan?
CDBT officials.
Yeah, but all this is hearsay, you know, unless you know...
Make it an official statement, Mr. Ranganathan.
The official statement from...
only the sources?
The BBC has spoken, sir. The BBC has spoken. Your client has spoken.
When it suits you, then you believe the police.
Have they, in their response, mentioned that they
police. When it doesn't suit you, then you want official investigation and things to come out only later. Stop this hypocrisy.
Yes, yes.
When it
And
suits
you come with you come up with anonymous
you
sources
believed
and try to
even
prove
the
that
UP police.
you are right.
You believe
You try to come up with anonymous
police.
sources and you say that it's right. We have seen these sort of friends in Rajasthan
Mr.
issue
Chaudhary,
also.
what I am unable to understand. No, 1 minute. No, 1 minute, sir. People are watching. No, 1 minute. Doctor, no, Mr. Dinesh Chaudhary, 1 minute. If the BBC has responded, what more do you want?
India stands at 150th position in press freedom index.
Dinesh Chaudhary, if the BBC is, if the BBC is not denying it, how are you denying it? Mr. Rajgopalan, what is going on?
BBC has been exposed thoroughly, Pranesh. It is underreported during UPA regime for the last 10 years, from 2004 to 2014. The same type of underreporting were taken. Now BBC should be charged with 400 crore rupees notice, because every year 40 crores they have been frauding. The tax liability on them is that 40 crores. My admission is Indian law system is supreme. Why, I don't know, others are defending them. Why they are defending BBC? BBC defending means they are literally saying they want to support BBC. For example, I say, when underreporting tomorrow is confirmed, will these BBC supporters take back that? You have to wait and watch. Tomorrow they are going to come with a statement. That is what I know. Underreporting. So therefore, my understanding is BBC fraud has been exposed. BBC is doing a fraud on Indian people. BBC's fraud has been totally, marginalized. Pranab Mukherjee, P. Chidambaram, Dr. Manmohan Singh, 3 of them were responsible for giving them 10 years go free. For 10 years. Total 400 rupees. At least Narendra Modi has dug out 40 crores from BBC. Yes, Sonia, and you also.
Can I come in?
And you also.
Lokesh Jindal, quick response.
Yes, Pranesh, there is a huge difference between an IT survey and an IT raid. An IT survey is generally carried out by the agency to look into the accounts of the other party. They collect certain information. On the basis of that, they might claim that a particular tax assessment is done and this is the particular liability. The other party has 2 options. It can contest it in an appellate tribunal, or
what is it that you want to say?
Why is the survey being politicized as a raid?
Who is politicizing
it? My dear friend, Mr. Rajgopalan is saying that BBC is doing a fraud on the country. It is
Why are you defending? Why are you defending BBC?
BBC has a survey can be carried out by the IT agencies in any company, wherever it thinks that a particular company is not abiding by tax law. So this particular IT survey is being politicized as a raid, as if the BBC has
the opposition called it a raid. You called it a crackdown on free speech.
No, right now Dr. Anand Ranganathan said that in February IT officials raided BBC. No, there is a huge difference between raid and a survey.
You know, this fluidity in stand. No, 1 minute. Dr. Ranganathan, this fluidity in stand, I can't make sense of this.
The BBC has revised its tax returns and it is paying the taxes.
Now,
tell me, why is it such a big deal?
Well.
But that's my question to you. Why is it such a big deal? You're asking the question that I want you to answer. Dr. Ranganathan.
Pranesh, can I just give, I quoted to you the bare facts, and I told you that Lokesh Jindal was trying to link the banning of the documentary with the income tax, whatever, investigation. And I gave him the example that no, there is a difference, there is a gap of 3 or 4 months between the two. So Lokesh, you are wrong on facts, my friend. Please accept it. You don't need to apologize to me because we are friends and move on.
To project that it was a raid.
Why?
And BBC as an organization is indulging in illegal activities.
Why would I try?
BBC as you yourself said now that you gave so many examples that it's a fraud organization. It is there to defame India. You came up with so many charges without any basis.
Without any basis?
The entire 2.5 minutes in the beginning. No,
you facts don't mean anything to you. I know you support Congress.
No, 1 minute. Dr. Ranganathan, you should be glad that the only thing Lokesh Jindal has got right in his argument is the timing bit. 2.5 minutes. Now, given the facts, let's repeat the facts for him.
No, but The fact of the matter is,
Dr. Ranganathan is confused between a raid and a survey.
It's not about the raid and survey, it's about what has come out of it.
It is his entire narration is about defaming BBC, trying to claim that there was a raid carried out. BBC is something that is to be banned from India. That's what his
Lokesh, no, 1 second. No, 1 second. For a long time, the source of Bofors was not known. Do you disagree with the conclusions of Bofors?
Suddenly he's back to Bofors scandal.
No, I'm asking you.
Talk about Hindenburg now. Now talk about Hindenburg. Jallianwala Bagh.
When I
stick to an argument that we are talking about.
Did you even understand my question?
No, I understood whatever you said. What I'm saying
Dr. Sumansi Raman, I think, has understood that. He wants to respond.
The sources
of BBC.
That is what I'm telling you.
A revised
These guys have run their whole cottage industry on
that BBC
sources.
as an authority does not have credibility.
Today they are destroying the credibility of
Pranesh. The survey, BBC does not have any credibility.
No, let him answer. He's responding to the points you raised, Lokesh. Let's not talk over each other.
Lokesh, please understand my question. My question is regarding journalism and the sources. Why are you suddenly disputing and disagreeing with the sources of a journalistic story? That is why I asked, do you believe in Bofors? Do you believe in Radia? It's a plain and simple question. If you did not care about the sources then, why suddenly are you caring about the sources now? And I'll tell you now. Because as Mr. Rajagopalan said correctly, this whole thing goes against your agenda, my friend. That is why you are bringing in the sources.
No.
Dr. Raman, answer the fundamental question. If the BBC, I come back to it again. Dr. Raman, please.
Pranesh, I want to make one very small point. Dr. Ranganathan repeatedly, and I think I heard him at least twice, say that, I don't know who he meant, but he said one of the persons who said was wrong on fact, and there was a 2 to 3 month gap between the airing of the documentary and the inquiry. 23rd January was the airing of the documentary. It might have been 20th, 21st, whatever, 2-3 days. Was the banning of the documentary. Was the
airing was in January, banning was in May. Banning was in May.
No, airing. 1 minute.
Banning was in May.
1 second, sir.
23rd May.
23rd January to 14th February. 1 second, sir. 14th February was the inquiry which was launched onto the BBC in terms of this quote-unquote tax evasion. So between 23rd January and 14th February,
when was it banned?
My calculation, it comes to around 3
weeks. Ask him.
But in New India, that could be 3 months also. I cannot comment on what it is. No, excuse me,
when was it banned? Tell me the date of its banning.
Sir, that means the tax inquiry started before it was banned.
I challenge you.
Excuse
me. Tell me the date of the banning.
Dr. Ranganathan, please, it's okay. You got 1 day, you got something wrong. It's okay. It's okay. This was aired in January and the raids happened in February.
If you have the date, you tell him the date.
Raman is caught.
Caught live on television. Caught live.
20th of January.
Okay.
20th of January. 20th of January. Dr. Ranganathan, please, okay, viewers, I will speak directly to you. Google it now and see when the documentary was aired and banned by the government, or an unofficial ban or whatever which was then withdrawn, and the income tax inquiry. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. They withdrew it.
Please ask him.
It was aired in so many places after that. The ban was... It was withdrawn. Dr. Ranganathan, please, it's okay. It's okay. We all make mistakes. We all make mistakes.
No, but you're not. No, Dr. Raman, you're still not answering the question he asked you about the date, the exact date.
When was the BBC documentary banned by the government?
21st January and 14th February.
Pranesh.
It was not banned, sir. It was restricted from being viewed. It was then... It was
Pranesh,
one second again. You are the one who started by saying from the date of the ban,
Okay. Now,
third week of May.
Mr. Rajagopalan wants to come in. Okay, now the two doctors, please calm down, please. Please, Dr. Ranganathan, Dr. Raman, 1 minute. Mr. Rajgopalan has a point, then we move on.
It's okay.
Dr. Sumant Raman is as confused as BBC and don't make Times Now as BBC.
And as we speak, Lokesh Jindal is trying to Google something. Lokesh, what is it?
Ask him the date.
Yes.
Ask him the date.
It is 23rd of January.
Ask him the date.
Invokes emergency law to ban BBC documentary on Modi. That's the news I am reading from the Guardian. So Mr. Sumant Raman is...
You are 23rd January, 14th February.
Yes, absolutely. He's absolutely right. I think Dr. Ranganathan, you can apologize today. It's a bad day for you today.
No, we'll have to.
Now, between a survey and a raid.
First of all, Lokesh, you should know.
It was banned.
If I am wrong, I will be the first person to apologize. Why wouldn't I apologize if I am wrong? Why? Of course, I would say sorry.
That's
both
what I'm
you and
wondering.
this.
Why are
but
you
I'm asking
apologizing
you
yet?
a simple question. Give me the date when the Modi government banned
Sir,
the
there is
BBC
no question to
documentary.
ask, sir. You said there was a 3-month gap.
You were asking
a lot
of questions,
That's all.
Sumant
End of story.
Okay, let's move on. Okay, let's move on.
3 weeks gap.
Sir,
there was a gap. I'm trying to tell you
sir.
that Lokesh said there was no gap. I asked.
You
my
said
response
3
was
months.
Only. Okay, 3 weeks. You want to say 3 weeks? I apologize.
Okay,
I meant 3 weeks instead of
There you go. Both Dr. Raman and Lokesh Jindal.
You said 2 to 3 months, and you said it twice or thrice.
Weeks it is.
Is it weeks? All right.
Weeks it is. Let's move on. Okay, so all this is hearsay at the moment. The